Hi, I'm attorney Dave Maldonado, a seasoned litigator with over a decade of experience in Montana. Have you been injured in a car accident? If so, remember insurance companies want to give you as little money as possible. There's a reason why they have the biggest buildings in the largest cities. Don't let big insurance bully you. Visit BigSkyDefender.com today to see how I can help you get fair compensation for your injuries. The consultation's free and the fight's real.
With your opening statement.
Well, what a fun night tonight is. It's not even close to being over yet. We have a lot of work to do after this game, but hey, let's go to the fun part right now. Couldn't be happier for all the fans of Northern Arizona University representing our great university in Flagstaff, Arizona, and these two guys to my left and right, Carson Towt and Jalen just remarkable games. I'm not going to say unreal or unbelievable because that's who these guys are every single night. And the other 8 guys in our locker room, I think you guys can tell we're pretty well connected. And I think when you have a belief in somebody, when your mindset is proper, you can go on these fun rides. And it's not even a miracle ride for us right now. And couldn't be happier for everybody. The character of these young men is why we're sitting here with an opportunity to go to the NCAA tournament.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up to any questions you guys have for our 2 players.
Hey guys, Andrew Howell, Skyline Sports. Jalen, you were the story of the tournament a couple days ago. You're certainly still the story of the tournament now. Just how does it feel after a game like that? Now you guys have a chance to go play for a championship.
It feels great, man. Just blessed. Surrounded by great guys, great coaching staff, and our whole staff just makes it fun being here winning with these guys.
Carson, you had 3 fouls at halftime. You come out of the locker room with 3 fouls, knowing you're going to have to play the whole second half that way. You didn't pick up another one the rest of the way. You had a great second half. What was your mindset coming out of the locker room and getting back on the court with 3 fouls?
Yeah, just playing smart. You get 2 fouls in the first half, you got to play smart, and then I picked up a cheap one boxing out. It happens. You go for that adversity, and then everyone's saying play smart. I knew to play smart, and then just go out and do it.
Jalen, when you transferred here a couple years ago, Power 5 school, big opportunity here. You said that you wanted to come here and make these sort of runs. I think you cited Oral Roberts when they made that run a few years ago as a reason to come here. Now that you get a chance to play in a conference title game, looking back, is this how you imagined it would feel?
Man, I can't imagine what's going on right now, but this is definitely something me and Coach talked about. At the time when we talked on the phone, I told him I want to come and win, and he told me the history of NAU, and I just told him that I wanted to change that and be a part of that change. So.
Hey Jalen, the last 2 matchups with Montana ended up with scores of a 1-point difference and a 2-point difference. What does it mean for the team and to see the progress after a win with that kind of a differential tonight?
Just all the adversity we've been through. We're learning how to finish games and win games, not just surviving games, but win games. Like you said, the past 2 times we played them, it came down to a 1 or 2-point game, and we had so many games like that. And I think all the adversity we've been through the regular season taught us how to win now in the win now in the postseason. So we got that media timeout, the under 4 media timeout. We were up 10, and the coach said let's win by more than 10, and ended up winning by 12. So, just sticking together, getting stops, and just learning how to win at the end of games.
And then, Carson, I don't think you would say that you had the best first half, 3 fouls and only 2 points. During halftime, what was really going through your head that allowed you to have the performance that you did in the second?
Really nothing. You just got to keep playing how you play. Just try to get in that flow state. There's really nothing. You don't want to force any thoughts or any. You just keep doing what you're doing, and we keep doing what we're doing. Things are going to take care of themselves, and you just go out there and play.
Carson, it was mentioned in the previous press conference with Montana that you had a hand on just about every loose ball. It felt like you were impacting the game in ways that just don't show up on the stat sheet. What drives you to just keep going like that? Just, for lack of a better term that I can think of, have that dog in you.
That's a good term.
I couldn't tell you. I think that's just who I am off the court, who I am on the court, and there's really nothing else to it. It's my job, and I do it hard.
His mom might have something to do with that. And Dad.
Jalen,
That's true.
you guys held you guys really held Montana's guard play to a pretty quiet night by their standards. What was the game plan there from your perspective, and how did you guys succeed at that?
We knew going into this game that Moody gets them going, and last night he had a phenomenal game. He's a great player, so we knew our bigs was going to take care of their business and do their job, so we knew as the guards that we had to step up in order for us to win this game and make it to the championship.
First year of the new format, you guys had the day off, obviously. Something supposed to benefit the top 2 seeds, but you guys upset them, so you got the day off. How much did you feel that rest and extra preparation helped you guys? And did it seem to you guys like Montana was a little bit tired playing their second game in 2 days?
That Monday was tough. You win those 2 games. That Sunday night, we hit that buzzer beater, and just so anxious to get back on the court. But I definitely feel like we benefited. We benefit from it, and that we deserved that day off after the 2 back-to-back days we had. But Montana, they fought. They seemed like they were in great shape. I don't know if it affected them or not, but those guys battled.
Yeah, I mean, we do a great job, sleeping, hydrating, the whole staff, the athletic trainers, the weight staff, we're sleeping, we're hydrating, we got recovery, we're getting massages in the meeting rooms. I mean, we're doing everything right, so you do stuff the right way, take care of your bodies, nothing really to worry about. You just go out there and perform freely.
Thank you both. We'll now open up to any questions you guys have for Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Coach, you've gotten a chance to see Anna Moody play against you guys for a few years now, being at Southern Utah and now coming here. He's coming off a career high game the other night, and you held him to a very low, scoring very low usage rate as well. And earlier, Coach DeCuire said that he was dealing with a bit of an injury. But what was sort of the thought process of looking to stop him and after seeing what he did the other night?
Yeah, no, the thing that we want to do more than anything, he had a really good game up at in Missoula. He went off on us. We had a 9-point lead. Before you knew it, we were down 2 points on 12-0. I think he had 9 of the 12 points. And you talked about Southern Utah, just a heck of a player. They had great teams when he was there, and they've done a good year this year in the WAC. And I disrespect someone like that. And I told him after a game up in Flagstaff, he found a home where he could really show his talents, and that's no discredit to Southern Utah because they had such a talented team too. And I gave him a hug after the game. I said I respect him so much. He's a true competitor. And how he played last night, we had to come in. We had to limit his shots. We were fortunate that he was 0 for 5 from the 3. That's not going to happen probably ever again for him. And it was Xavier Fuller who played really well, and as a team defensive effort to hold a guy like that. But our whole thing was try to limit his shots. Last night he shot 19 shots on the stat sheet. That's what we tried to do. We knew he would score.
And no day off tomorrow, but it is a very, very late start at 9:30.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be like? Having that whole day basically to yourselves. What are you going to do? Prep wise, looking at film, practice. What is that sort of day to day like?
Yeah. So we'll watch this game tonight, and we'll go back and I'll watch our game. I always like to focus on ourselves first and kind of see how can we get better. And then tomorrow we'll have a practice, and we'll just shoot around for half an hour to 45 minutes. I always let it up to the guys the day of a game. We don't do anything physically. The assistant coaches have been doing an outstanding job. Coach Bell had tonight, and Coach Riccardi will have at Montana State. And we'll prep as a coaching staff tonight and let the guys get some sleep and feed them and just enjoy it. But I said to him more than anything, we're not moving on. I mean, we got to keep playing with this confidence, and our guys are mature enough that they're going to get some sleep. They're an outstanding group about their bodies and their health and their nutrition. So we'll be ready to go at 9:30. It's a late start. My understanding is the Lakers and Warriors are playing before us, and we're the main game tomorrow night. So that's why it's a 9:30 tip-off.
Coach, at the beginning of the season, a lot of us sat down and talked with some of your players, and a big thing that I know we talked about was you guys were talking about winning that Big Sky title, and then obviously the season. We've talked about it a lot, how it's heartbreaking continually. what's it feel like to have that kind of a season and now be 1 win away?
Yeah, well, I always answered honestly. I think we're going to have a lot of success here. I've always said that, I always believe that, and I think the hardest thing will be to look on those records in future years and say, I can't believe that's what we were. And the other thing is the character of our guys. I think to build a program, you have to have high character guys to win consistently and have chances to have nights like this and another night like tomorrow. And you know what? There's 10 people always talking about winning a Big Sky championship, and we're one of them. And we don't hide from that. There's great coaches, great players in our conference, and now we have an opportunity to win a postseason tournament, to go to the NCAA tournament. Hopefully that gets us moving forward to next year. But again, I don't mean to repeat myself. It's just a credit to those guys in that locker room. Thank you.
Coach, you guys are playing the late game tomorrow. The women are playing in the early game. Just what have you thought of their run as well, and what does that mean for Northern Arizona University?
Well, let me talk about Coach Payne first of all. Coach Payne, I was an assistant coach, and I was the interim coach, and I was a COVID coach, and now it's no COVID. But we draw inspiration from her team because she had to rebuild that program, and she had a couple 4 or 5 seasons. I might be talking out of line a little bit, but the last year they got to the championship game, and when you sit there and you support them, and our program's somebody who roots for our guys. We want them to have all the credit in the world. We were here at the game today, and I gave them a choice if the guys wanted to come, and they all said yes without any hesitation. We'll be here again tomorrow, and it says everything about our school. Right now, with our great leadership of Mr. Mike Marlowe, I don't know if anybody knows this, but right now in the Big Sky Conference, Northern Arizona Athletics owns 11 titles. Like, we're not talking about 2018-19 census. Right now, Northern Arizona owns 11 titles, which is amazing. With our leadership, with Mr. Marlowe and all the coaches, great coaches. We had a head coaches meeting Tuesday before we got here. I always get more inspiration when I leave those meetings. And hopefully tomorrow the women are 12, and at about 11:30 tomorrow night we'll have number 13. With no discredit toward Weber State or Montana State.
Guys like Carson Towt, Nick Maines, even Jalen, who transferred in, those are guys who have been in this league for years. What does it mean for you to take a group that's been working hard for years, that's been around for years, that's had chances at the tournament before, to the championship game, especially somebody like Jalen, who has a huge game tonight, but who bought into the program when he transferred here?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, because I think you get into coaching, and I did in particular, to help young people as a high school teacher for a lot of years, and you just want to help and be a positive influence of people. And a lot of games you coach, tonight was one of them where you just want Nick Maines, who, as you guys have heard me say, you talk about NAU, you talk about Nick Maines, he's been here for 5-6 years, and you just don't want his career to end, and his loyalty is paying off. And you talk about a Carson Towt, a Jalen Cohen. How about Jalen Cohen? You look at the recruiting, I think the last couple schools were, I won't even say the schools, but they're Power 5 schools, and I asked my assistant, do we really have a chance at Jalen Cohen? And one of the remarks on it was NAU, and he said, is that Northern Alabama University? And then you kind of start sticking up for yourself. And for those guys to take that chance and come across the country from North Carolina, that's where Jalen's from, it says a lot. It says a lot about our school, that how much they enjoy it. They're not just going to school and can't wait to get out of town. They're enjoying their college experience, which is also really important.
Same question I had for the players, but just how did having that extra day off help you guys? How do you think it impacted the game, and then just how Montana having to play 2 games in 2 days? What did you notice?
Yeah, you guys are all dressed sharp tonight, asking good questions. There was a factor. To win that buzzer beater game, that's an emotional night. You don't fall asleep after that game. I didn't think I actually laid down and went to bed after 3 o'clock because of doing some work. And that day off was very beneficial for us. It was. And, as far as Montana, I don't know if that hurt them or helped them. But I know in our head coaches meetings is that the whole goal of that is to try to get a Big Sky tournament win. I think it's been 20 years, or don't quote me on that one. But that's the whole goal of that, is try to get the top seeds into the NCAA tournament. And play 3 games in 3 nights sounds better than 4 games in 4 nights. If you're in our case this year, the 7 through 10 seed would have to win now 4 games in 5 nights, which helped us, but that's not the motivation. The motivation is for those top 2 seeds to win 2 games in 2 nights or 3 games in 4 nights. So it absolutely helped us.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, any more? You guys good?
In a few minutes, small business owners can now sign up for Blackfoot Communication Services. Whether it's dependable voice options or internet services, sign up simply by visiting blackfootsmallbusiness.com. Click on the services you wish, select an installation time and date, and you're done. Small business services at the touch of your fingers. Connect to more with Blackfoot Communications and blackfootsmallbusiness.com.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Tough one. I'd say this is one of those games. You can look at the stat sheet and see some things, but I think at the end of the day, we put a lot of stress on 50-50 balls. The rebounds, the loose balls on the floor, the deflected balls. The team that comes up with the most of those wins. And in the first half, I felt like we were dominating in that area. And we weren't executing great on offense or defense, but we kept ourselves in the game with the extra possessions and how hard we were playing and how well we were executing on defense for the most part. In the second half, that got away from us. There was just way too many missed shots that were deflected. Towt got his hands on a lot of balls that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet because he tips them out and somebody else ends up with that offensive rebound. But there were just way too many second shots for that team, and hats off to their staff. I think that this is the double bye we've been talking about for years, and the first time to see it. And when you have an opportunity to watch team play and then practice and then play them and then do it again, watch team play and practice and play them, there's an advantage that takes place, and that's how it should be, in my opinion. The first and second seed should have that prep advantage because you want your better teams in the championship game playing for the championship and playing for the right to go to the NC2A tournament. And what happens is March Madness, and then you stole that advantage from Eastern Washington. And I think their staff did a phenomenal job with that. Because they had a chance to watch us play. They had a chance to practice in between games. And they did a good job of executing on both sides of the ball. Came out like a team that was fresh and energetic in the second half. And I felt they just had more energy than us down the stretch.
Thank you, Coach. We'll now open up to any questions you guys have for our two players.
Guys, Andrew Howell, Skyline Sports. Coach addressed it, but what was your thought on what happened in the second half?
Yeah, there's definitely an element about scrappiness. I know Coach said that felt like we were underprepared, but that solely felt on players tonight. I know personally I wish I could have some players back. I think we could have done a better job of executing defensively as a group, executing what Coach was asking. And I think that was the biggest difference.
Josh, how much did the two early fouls on you take you out of the game? I know you came back late in the first half there, but did that affect you at all?
No, I try to stay ready to go whenever Coach called my number. And in a game like this, you always got to be ready, and I try to do that. But I take accountability for that. Getting two early fouls was like pulling for me, and put us in a tough spot.
Brandon, their guards got pretty hot, and Jalen Cohen had 28 points today. So what was the challenge that they presented, and why were they able to get so many shots to fall?
I would just say, like Travis said, our execution defensively just wasn't there. I think the guards could have fought to get over the screens better, and the bigs could have got up better. But other than that, you just made shots.
In that second half, did you guys like the shots you were finding? They just weren't quite falling. Like offensively, was that what you guys were looking for?
There were stretches where there were shots that we didn't necessarily want to take, but other than that, I think we took the shots that we wanted to take, and they just weren't fouled.
Brandon, it felt like some of the things they were doing defensively, taking on and out of his game, taking you a little bit out of the game in the second half. What did you feel like they were doing that create challenges for the guards on offense?
For Moody, I would say they were basically just denying him the ball the whole time and firing all his ball screens. And for me, they really didn't do anything different for me except the scout that they have, which was back off a little bit. When I shot the ball towards the end of the half, just don't go on.
Josh? Sorry. Josh, we can obviously see you emotional right now. Just, what can you say about just this year's team and just, just like letting this one get away? It just seems like this one meant a little bit more to you guys.
Yeah, this is my third year now, and each time it's going to help it up. And the thing I think for us in this group, and I know myself personally, Matt Anderson has been a big part of this program ever since I've been here, and in my opinion, should go down through his history. He might not be the best player to have ever played here, but his pride in this program means something, and he doesn't care about his name. And I think, for me, I wanted that championship for him so badly. That he's given his all to the program, and people don't know, but he's been hurt all year. He's been hurt, fighting through stuff. People don't see that. But there's days he can barely walk, let alone play. And he rocks up on game day and he toughs it out and he finds a way to play for us because this means something. And I wanted that really badly for him. And it was disappointed that it won't.
You guys had such a strong close to the season, winning 8 to 10 games, I believe. Just the way you closed the season overall, do you see it as a positive going into next year, that it can help you guys starting out stronger in the year?
Yeah, I think we did get better towards the end of the year, and that is possibly a positive to take. But right now, it's pretty hard to look at it like that because there's a lot of belief in that locker room that we could go and get this done. So right now, anything other than going and winning a championship feels like a failure.
How much is a loss, like the way you guys lost today, how much can you guys use that as fuel to carry you throughout the off season?
I think we could definitely use this as fuel for the off season. Like you said, we kind of ended off the year positive, except this one game. But yeah, we could definitely use this for fuel.
Thank you both. We'll now open up for any questions you guys have for Coach.
Travis, I know Brandon kind of spoke to it a little bit, but what were you seeing as far as the ways they were kind of taking Moody out of the game and limiting his shot selection?
Well, it wasn't just Moody. I thought, obviously they denied him the ball, so it was very difficult for him to get touches. But I thought they did a good job of fighting the touch with all of our perimeter players, and just made it very difficult for us to move the ball. And so when teams play you that way, the answer is to penetrate, whether it's thrown into the paint, to the post, and that didn't work, or spread the floor and drive. And right now, our best driver is Brandon Whitney, and in these situations, you probably need multiple guys that can put on the floor and create a shot for themselves and others, and that's just not necessarily our strength right now.
And like you mentioned, you guys, end the season winning 8 of the last 10 games, but obviously, not the result you wanted tonight. How will you look back on this season and the progress this group made as a whole?
A ton of growth, more so mental. In my opinion, there's a growth that takes place in athletics that fans and the media never see. From the first meeting with the group in the summer in June to the last meeting we just had in that locker room, there's a lot of conversations that take place that they take with them in life. And that's really what college athletics is about. We can talk about March Madness and playing NCAA tournament. The reality is you play a sport to learn from it. And when these kids first pick up a ball in whatever sport they play in, the intent for a parent is for them to learn how to compete and how to handle adversity, but also be someone that other people can rely on. And when they learn to do that, they're probably someone who can hold a job. And I feel like everyone in that locker room has become that if they weren't that before they came. Now, a good percentage of them have been that, and we recruit good kids. But there's been a ton of growth with this group, and that's why we played as well as we did from March to now. And so there's some opportunity for us to take this another step.
Travis, when you see Josh emotional here, talking about Mac and a couple other guys on the bench emotional after a win or a loss like this, just from a coach's perspective, when you see just how much they really care about each other, just when you see that, what does that mean to you?
That means that they're getting what they are supposed to get out of this. Mac, unfortunately, has been on a team that's been to an NCAA tournament, so he doesn't leave as empty-handed as it may feel. But Mac Anderson's come a long way in this program, from a young man that was playing in a red shirt that ends up playing quite a bit for a team that's fighting to win a championship after losing arguably our best player in the middle of the season. And so he really impacted championship on that team more than anyone in this room would ever understand. We probably don't win that if he doesn't come out of that red shirt. And so from that point forward, he's always been committed to the program. And he's been injured more than anyone I've ever coached in a 4-year period, right, over these last three and a half years. There's just been a lot of physical setbacks for him. And so for him to fight through the physical adversity the way he has is incredible, and his teammates respect it. And that's when you know that you have a family environment, when a young man that is a first-team all-conference player that has aspirations to play professional basketball has a teammate in the locker room who sees his playing career come to an end, and he's emotional for him about that. That's what this is about, and I think that's the part of athletics that we all lose sight of, from parents to coaches to media to players, is that that's the most important lesson that they could ever learn.
Ultimately, you have a couple guys here, Josh and Brandon, who've been a part of a couple Big Sky tournament wins. Now you got some guys in the locker room who tasted that or yesterday as well. So how do you guys carry that momentum going next year? There's a lot of experience coming back, and you guys have something to glean from.
You just keep growing. We're going to have some hard conversations when this thing ends in terms of areas of growth and what we can do to get better to make sure this doesn't happen next year. And the guys that commit to that are the ones who are going to help us be successful. And the biggest thing is, the hardest thing for an athlete is to look in the mirror and challenge himself when he can identify his weaknesses and attack them. So we all do that as coaches, as players.
Watching warm-ups and in the game that maybe Anand Moody was dealing with some sort of cramps or lower leg pain, and I guess just was there anything specific he was going through, and how did that affect you guys as a team?
He injured his arch. And so when we went through, walked through and prepared this morning, he wasn't a part of that. He was on the sidelines and he was there. And he walked through a couple things, but he didn't do any of the shooting and the moving around and the things that we typically do in a pregame workout. So he's got a lot of tape on that foot, a lot of mileage in a game. And when running is his game, right? His movement, his ability to free himself from defenders is his game. And I think that he definitely wasn't 100% in that regard.
Now that the season's complete, do you consider this a successful season, and what do you see as the next step for the program to take, and how do you go about doing that?
You define success different with every group you ever have, right? And so, for the University of Montana, there's an expectation that comes with football, basketball, women's basketball, right? And you want to compete for championships. And so, did we do that? Yeah, we were in the semifinals, playing for an opportunity to be in the final game of conference to go to the NCAA tournament. So, winning season, continued winning seasons, 17 wins and opportunities to add to that potentially. So there's a level of success that we've had this year that we can always hang our hat on in comparison to some of the programs. Do we want more? Yes. Do we set our goals higher? Yes. And that's what's special about being at the University of Montana as opposed to some other places, is that there's teams that may get one postseason win and they feel that they've arrived. And for us, it's trying to get to that final night. And we've been there quite a few times. more than anyone else in the conference in our 9 years. Our plan is to continue to get there. So we're going to have to buckle down and figure out how to get there next year.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.